name is Sam, and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification, and give the video a thumbs up. So continuing along this train of like evaluating my bookshelves and weeding or unhauling, I wanted to do a physical unhauling. Now, I was actually pretty proud of myself. I've managed to condense my collection. I have several bookshelves, basically, but my, like, actively growing collection, I've managed to fit it on these 3 bookshelves behind me. I got 1, 2, and 3. So, they're completely full, though, but I have them all basically on there, other than, like, my Outlander and my Harry Potter, which are in my room. So, I also have this really bad habit, though, of, like, buying books in order to meet, like, the book outlet requirement minimum for free shipping, or when Indigo has a sale of if you spend $40 or more, or when I go to the bookstore and my bookstore doesn't have great inventory, unfortunately, I'm always like, but I need to buy another book for this trip to be worth it. I need to buy 4 books, not just 3 books. So I talk to a staff person, they suggest this book, I'm like, sounds alright, yeah, sure, whatever. I pick it up because it's super cheap, basically. And then I just bring it home, throw it on my shelf, and I never think of it again. So I feel like this should be like an annual thing that I do. At least with the amount of buying that I've done in the last year. So you're going to just join me on this wonderful trip of weeding some of the books. Right off the bat, I know one trilogy is coming off. This trilogy, I got them all off of Book Outlet. I think my thing too is like they're mismatching formats, and I've owned them for I'd say at least 2 years now. I've never even thought of reading one of them, in all honesty. So the Trial by Fire series by Josephine Angelini is no longer on my shelf. Okay, in all honesty, these were gifted to me by a coworker. They're like brand new in great shape, which I really appreciated her giving them to me, but I just honestly don't think I'm ever going to read any of the Kelly Armstrong stuff. It just sounds very like 2000s with the werewolves and all that kind of stuff. It's never been of like an actual interest to me, any of the plots that I've ever really read, unfortunately. It just, I don't know. Summoning, The Awakening, The Reckoning, and The Gathering by Kelly Armstrong are no longer on my shelf. Company Town by Madeline Ashby. This was like, I think I want to say it was like a CBC book to read like a year ago or something like that. And I think I bought it like on a whim off of, I thought it was Book Outlet, but there's no markings on it anywhere. I don't know. I remember buying it like super duper cheap. I bought it and I've literally never thought about reading it. I don't find like dystopian set in Canada even particularly interesting, unfortunately, either. And I think it's set in like a dystopian Nova Scotia or something like that. I'm not gonna read it. I'm sorry. This one I kind of feel bad about because I bought it with every intention of reading it and I've just really never gotten to it. Nemesis by Anna Banks. Okay, this is a maybe being unhauled. I'm gonna sit on it for a day, reread the summary, look at some reviews, and decide that. So this goes in a different pile. I am one of those, like, apparently, like, horrible people that read The Cruel Prince and didn't understand the hype. I read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, like, I want to say 2 years ago, and it was alright. I just don't understand the Holly Black craze. I just don't. I have The Darkest Part of the Forest, and I want to say I bought this off of Book Outlet as well. I don't understand, like, the big hype about her writing or her plots. It just doesn't do anything for me. So, I'm gonna keep The Cruel Prince and give it another attempt, because I think that one was very heavily based on my mood, because I normally like fairies and all that kind of stuff. I think it was also kind of fairied out at that point. So I'm going to keep that one and give it one more try. But this, I'm never going to read. I'm sorry. Just not. Icarus Down by James Bowe is another one. I've never, ever heard anyone talk about it. Ever. Like, whatsoever. And it was I need to buy one more book to hit something at the Indigo. There was nothing else to buy. So I bought it. I think it was like $10. Sorry, $15. I'm never gonna read it. Yeah, this is another one. I'm just done with the retelling stuff. I think this is like a bound up of a couple different, and they have like, authors have a couple different volumes, but once again by Liz Braswell and Cameron Doki. I think Liz Braswell is the one who writes those like, there's like a Mulan retelling I think that came out, like Reflection or something, or maybe I'm thinking of someone else, but there's like a Snow White retelling and a Sleeping Beauty one. I'm not gonna read it. This is another one. I've heard so many mixed things about this book, and especially like, and the things I've heard, there were like, this one was like maybe a 3.2 out of 5 stars, and then the sequel to this, because there's like 2 stories and there's another roundup of another 2 stories, and everyone was like, this one's the better one, and it's still not good. So this is the one. I'm gonna sit on it, reread some of the reviews, and decide. Because I like pirates and I love female pirates. So I'm going to give it another review attempt. We'll see. Traveler by L.E. Delano. This came in a book box, I'm like 90% sure. I know there's time traveling and there's supposed to be sailoring and pirating. I know the sequel came out too, but I've honestly just never thought about it. I love time travel and I love pirates. So I think this is one that I'm gonna reevaluate. I'm gonna look at the summary and look online, give myself a day and decide. I'm fairly certain I bought this in elementary school. Actually, I should check the publication date and make sure that's even possible. I started started university in 2010, so it would have been 2006 would have been high school, so 2016-ish? Or 2006-ish? Copyright 2009, so I probably bought this in high school. I have never once thought about reading it. A 9-year-old book is no long. This was one that I definitely bought off Book Outlet because I needed to fill a quota. I'm going to reread the summary and look online again because I can't remember. I want to say someone actually recommended this to me recently as like an adulty book, so I'm going to double check online. I'm keeping all the Lindsay Faye. I really need to get better at freaking catching up on Lindsay Faye because she has another book coming out and I have like 3 of her historical fictions that I need to just binge in this fall because I haven't touched them yet since Jane Steele, which I freaking love. Honest to God, I had no idea who this person was, and apparently I'm like a weird person for not knowing he's a Canadian author too, I guess. Okay, gonna keep the summary, look at some reviews, reevaluate in a day. I originally like bought this book because I was like, it's so pretty, even if I hate it, I'll keep it because the cover. Honest to God, I really didn't like this book all that much. It was very basic. And the cover is pretty, but like, I don't know. I mean, if I really want to look at it, that's what Google Images is for, right? Like, so, yeah. I'm just gonna unhaul it. Oh, this is... I don't know about this. So, I mean, despite my absolute love of history and historical fiction, I don't think I've ever read a book by Philippa Gregory. I think I tried when I was younger and I just found the writing too difficult for me. But I watched this series. I know it's not identical, but I watched The White Queen and loved it. And then I never actually watched, I think they had like The White Princess after. I think they made the show. I haven't watched that yet. But like this was my like, if I'm gonna read it, I know I like the general like kind of vaguish plot. I'll try it. I don't know. And I think part of my thing was like it has like the TV show cover, which I really like the TV show. I think my thing too is like a lot of her stuff is intertwined with other books. So it's like, where in the hell do I start with all this stuff? But I feel like I don't read a ton of like Tudor English history before the War of the Roses, or really like before Henry VIII started beheading wives. So reread, summary, reviews, give it a day. I'm gonna be real. I thought these covers were super pretty. The summary didn't sound super interesting, but I was like, no, what? Maybe it's just like the summary is a summary and you'll read it and love it, like some of the contemporaries you've done. I'm never gonna read these books, Magonia or Airy, and I've actually heard from several people too that the Airy book doesn't even make sense. I've just heard a lot of like very mediocre, yeah, you can see. I've heard a lot of like yeah, I don't even have the book plate in here. Very mediocre things about this. I know a lot of people were saying they were off by the red text. That doesn't really bother me so much. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get rid of Rose Blood. I, honest to God, don't even remember buying this book. The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane by Catherine Howe. The sticker on the back makes me think I bought it at Walmart. It's probably one of those like $2 bargain buy thingies. I've never thought about it since I purchased it. I think it's set in like Salem in 1681 on Hall. I'm fairly certain it was bought. Yeah, it was off Book Outlet. I think my thing was like it was blurred by Marissa Meyer and Renee Adier, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it a chance. And Sarah J. Maas, but I've literally never ever thought of this book since putting it on my bookshelf. So I feel bad because I like love Aladdin and all the like Middle Eastern like story retellings that we're finally getting because it's not just Cinderella. But I think the big thing for me is like I don't really like this cover. No, I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna read it. The Forbidden Wish. Definitely A Tragic Kind of Wonderful by Eric Lindstrom. This was in a book box I think like a year and a half ago. I got it and was like, I'm probably never gonna read this, but I really liked the items in the book box. It's supposed to be, I think, a contemporary about some mental health. I think it's a cool book, but those aren't kind of books that I really enjoy reading. So, Unhaul. The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I'm going to give myself a day to sit and think on this one. I got it in a book box, but I think there were a couple times I tried to read it and just never got to it because there was no audiobook that I could use to switch back and forth between. Oh, I have cards in here. And I just never ended up getting to it because there was no audiobook, so I could switch back and forth while walking the dogs or whatever. I'm gonna sit on it for a day and we'll see. I feel kind of bad, but I just honestly don't know that I'm ever gonna read this. Yeah. How It Went Down by Kekla Magoon. I just unfortunately know I'm not going to read it. They're really sad and frustrating books to read and see and that kind of stuff. I just don't think I'm going to read it, unfortunately. So hopefully someone else can make use with it, though. Yeah. I'm just going to unhaul The Second Empress by Michelle Moran and Rebel Queen by Michelle Moran. I know that I purchased this actually for our libraries a couple years ago, so I'd say. So I have that if I do ever eventually want to reading it. This one I honestly don't even remember buying it or when I bought it. It must be off Bookella based on the dot on the bottom, but I'm kind of like historical fiction monarchied out for the most part, I think. Unhauling, I See London, I See France. I got this in a book box. I've never read it. It's a contemporary romance. I'm not big on those sorts of reads, so unhaul. I did read Between Two Fires by Mark Nose pretty recently, and I was like, meh, I'll keep it and we'll figure something out. No, I'm not. I don't think I'll ever reread this, unfortunately. One of my goals for this year was to attempt to finally start reading of the Fallen Kingdoms. Once again, I've read the first book and it was alright, and then I tried the second book, but it was getting very romance heavy and I wasn't in the mood for a romance at the time. And it's just such a big series. I've heard from like pretty consistently everyone that's read it was like books 3 and kind of 4 I think were like alright, but the rest of the series is unnecessary and it's not great, not really worth it. So I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna read these. I'm also gonna be real. Black City by Elizabeth Richards, Phoenix, and Wings. It's a trilogy. I thought the covers were cool, and I think it's another kind of situation of like if I had like the Kelly Armstrong, if I hadn't read like Shadowhunter so long ago and like binged on all that kind of stuff on the half-bloods and half-humans and then the urban, his magic, all that stuff, I would be interested, but I'm just not, unfortunately. I really don't want to read it anymore. These are ones that I probably bought with Liar Thief. But Clashes of Eagles and Eagle in Exile by Alan Smale. They're adult, I think set in like Wales or something like that. Ever hungry for land and gold, the Emperor has sent some Roman name and the 33rd Roman Legion into newly discovered lands in North America. I'm honestly not gonna read these. I feel like my dad might actually read these though, so I'll kind of hold them aside whenever and see if he wants them whenever I see him again. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to unhaul Smoke by Dan Valida too. I tried to read this, I want to say like this past Christmas, and like read a couple pages. I just wasn't into it. And like, I liked the premise of it, but I think the writing was just very descriptive heavy, and I'm not crazy on that of just tell me like, I don't need to know the exact pigment color of the smoke coming off of people. Just say, smoke is for sins, and this person is like flaming smoking. Like there's just gray all around them. London is all gray. Everyone's in it. And they just like move on. But I think I got like 3 chapters in, and it was still describing like the smoke smell or something. I just not into that kind of writing. And the last shelf. I feel very proud of myself for this. I'm gonna unhaul The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I read this and I enjoyed it. It's just one of those contemporaries where it's like, it made me angry that I had to read it, and it was a good read, but I don't think I ever gonna reread a story where people get deported from a country that they consider their home. I am also going to unhaul By Your Side by Casey West. I'm not a big fan of romantic contemporaries. I just read this because they get locked in a library. Well, that was a description, but it's like for 20 minutes of the whole book, so no, it's like it would be a good like, oh, like I want something fluffy to read, blah, blah, blah. I think that was probably the reason why I kept it, but I now own Crazy Rich Asians. You are now inferior. I feel bad for saying that, but Crazy Rich Asians is so good. Another book I got in a book box, another contemporary with some romance that I'm probably never gonna read. Just, unfortunately, I'm just not a contemporary person, unfortunately. I actually did read The Clockwork Dynasty by Daniel H. Wilson. I've never read anything else of his, but I guess he has this other, like, I think it was like a dystopian robot series. It sounded pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was all right. I'm never going to reread it again, but another one I think my dad would actually enjoy, so I'll keep this for him. And lastly, I am going to be unhauling the Updraft and Cloudbound books by Fran Wilde. I think this is the first two in a trilogy. It's like a steampunky, futuresque kind of thing, which I was into for a while, but I'm just kind of done. And it also annoys the bejesus out of me that the formats are different on these. And I've just never actually thought of reading them since I bought them. So, yeah. That was this video. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've recently unhauled things, I guess, or if you are adamantly against me unhauling one of these books, and tell me why. I'd love to know. Make sure to check the description box. I'm not going to link all of these books because that's just excessive. Just check the description box for my social media, though. If you follow me, I will follow you back.